Hi, it's Sam back from TheRubiksCubed, and today I have a first look podcast on the Cubicle Lab cubes. So I did one of these videos a little bit earlier on the Guoguan Yuexiao when it first came out, I believe, and I decided to make another one of these videos because I recently saw something that got me very excited, and also it brings about a lot of controversy, so I wanted to discuss it and give my opinions on the topic. So first things first, what is a Cubicle Lab cube? So this all started basically with a speed solving forum post from Chris Tran. If you don't know who Chris Tran is a guy behind a lot of different methods and algs and stuff like that. And so he made a post talking about his new job, sort of. So I'm just going to go over some highlights basically of this post. This sentence right here got me the most excited. I want to combine scientific research with speed cubing. That right there is really exciting to me because that's something I've been waiting for a really long time. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a science person. I love science. I just like the scientific process in general and experiments and stuff like that. I think it's the best way to improve anything. And especially in cubing, that's something that's been lacking for a while. We haven't really had that sort of drive to improve cubes that much when we really can. I mean, the only thing that's improving mechanisms right now are the companies that are producing them. And I feel like if the community has some role in researching and developing new methods of creating cubes or new mechanisms or stuff like that, then we can drastically improve what we have right now. And a lot of people may not think that's possible, but you would be surprised how far we can probably proceed past our current mechanisms. I'm sure the sky's the limit, really. So he talks about his science background a little bit, Neil deGrasse Tyson picture, which is awesome. For those of you who don't know Neil, then go look him up. And then he announces Cubicle Labs. So Cubicle Labs essentially is just combining all of the research and development that Chris puts into his cubes into a product that is purchasable on the Cubicle. So then he talks a little bit about what his first cube is about, which is the Waylong GTS M. And I'll save you a lot of the discussion as far as the magnets, but essentially it's just a magnetic 3x3, which is an idea that had existed before, mostly from Chris. He's posted about it before. He's made a YouTube video in the past, I believe. But he finally perfected the mechanism, and it's sort of an improvement that's not necessarily going to be mind-blowing or game-changing or anything like that. But when you look into these sort of things, you never know what can happen, and you should always do your research into this sort of things. So you never know, in the future all 3x3s may have magnets in them. And so somebody finally starting to look into these sort of things is very important in order for improvement to occur, in my opinion at least. So then he puts a few scientific graphs. I'm not a huge fan of this sort of stuff. I feel like he should make it a little bit more understandable. But the point is that he's showing that there's a lot of science going into this and stuff like that. Then he mentions that he's going to be doing these magnets in 4x4 cubes and a bunch of other different 3x3s, which is very exciting. And he uses them as a main, and I know people have tried the cubes. I believe Ava and Derpy both have tried these cubes at competitions where Chris Tran was. They didn't say it was game changing. Like I mentioned earlier, this is not something that's going to, everybody's going to have to go out and buy these cubes because they will significantly improve your times or anything like that. But research and development is important for overall improvement in the community. So that's about it for the Cubicle Labs post. So what I want to discuss is the cube itself, because the Waylong GTS M has hit a bit of controversy So I'm going to read off a few things that I found about, I'm going to put it, doubts about whether or not this cube is worth it. So on the Cubicle's website, the Cubicle Way-Long GTS M is $49, which you read that number and that sounds absolutely insane, like stupidly priced. It's a 3x3. $50 is like a good 5x5 or a 7x7. Why is a 3x3 $50? And you know what? It's a great thing that it's $50 and it's worth $50. And that's what this podcast is supposed to explain. So I've heard comments like these. It's unnecessary and overpriced. It's another just type of those premium cubes. You know, the ones where they lube it and set it up for you and stuff like that, which I have my own personal opinion on, which I will share in a bit after I finish reading these comments. But I will tell you, this idea is absolutely not anything like the premium cubes. It's 3 times more expensive than the original. I can't see many people buying it. That's a quote from somebody. It should have been $30 at most. This sounds so dumb. Too much money. Wait, what is this, a joke? So those are all direct comments referring to the GTS M. And as it refers to like the reference of cam cuber cubes and premium cubes, let me tell you why this is nothing like that. The premium cubes I don't like because they're lubing it, which is a temporary thing, and then they're selling it to you for a larger price. I get the idea. I have no real issue with it, but I don't think that's something that's worth it. Like, I'm not mad that these things exist, or I don't think these stores should stop selling these types of cubes. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, that's not something that's worth it. Lube wears out. You know, that's something that you should learn to be able to do by yourself. And you shouldn't spend $10, $15 more on a cube for somebody else to do it for you. That's my opinion on that. But this is different. This is sort of like a mechanism change. This is like a whole different puzzle. And there are 2 main reasons why this cube is worth $50. Number 1, the magnets. These aren't any magnets. You don't go, your refrigerator magnets, you don't put refrigerator magnets in your cube and boom, you have the GTS M. That's not what these are. If you read in the Cubicle's description, these are neodymium magnets. And so for those of you who don't know, neodymium is a rare earth metal. And so these rare earth metals are not necessarily, contrary to their name, they're not necessarily rare, but they are expensive and they're used in small quantities, usually in tech. So you see small amounts of rare earth metals used in your cars, in your phone, in all types of different tech. And so these rare earth metals, even though they're really not that rare, they are more expensive than your run-of-the-mill copper or something like that. So what people don't understand is that those neodymium magnets, first of all, raise the price of the cube a lot. Neodymium magnets are expensive for a reason. It's because they work stupid well, and that's why they're used in a lot of different tech and stuff like that. They're good at their job, and I trust Chris with his testing that the neodymium magnets were the best choice of magnets for him to use. It's a pretty clear choice to choose the magnets that work the best for your magnetic cube. Just as a quick reference, I went on Amazon, did a quick search, found neodymium magnets about the size used for a cube, and found that they're 25 pieces, $15. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, $15? That's not that bad. But you have to realize that in these cubes, you're using upwards of 25 pieces. I don't know the exact amount. There is a picture on the Cubicle that shows an example of a corner, and the corner has 3 magnets in it, and I believe the edge has 2 magnets in it. So if you do that math, I don't know about the centers or anything like that, but if you do that math, a cube has 12 edges with 2, 24. and a cube has 8 corners with 3. So that's 24 as well. So you get 48 magnets. So if you're using 48 magnets and 25 magnets costs $15, you're well over $20 already. So going back to that comment before about somebody saying it should be $30, there's no way they can make it $30. Why? Because they're spending close to $30 on the magnets alone. And now we get into the second part, which is labor. A lot of people who have not been around these sort of businesses don't understand that one of the more expensive things is time. If you have a business, you need maximum efficiency in order to make money. So if you're spending all of your time making 50 Cubicle Lab cubes, then you're not going to be making enough money. In the price of the cube, you have to include the physical labor that's required to make the cube in order for it to be worth your time. For example, if it costs me $5 to make a Cubicle Lab cube, so let's pretend, imagine a machine. I put $5 in the machine and a Cubicle Lab cube pops out, right? What if the machine takes 3 hours to produce that cube, and I charge $10 for a Cubicle Lab cube, meaning I make $5 because that's 5 more than it cost me to make the cube, right? So I'm currently making $5. If I get an order of 200 Cubicle Lab cubes, I have to wait 600 hours for a production of those cubes. I'm going to lose money. That's not good. That time that I'm wasting, that I could be using on other things, on getting money from other things, I'm losing money on that. And so because of that, you need to charge for that time, that physical labor that goes into the production of these cubes. And it says that in the GTS M description. It says that these cubes are made to order. And so, in conclusion, basically, what I'm trying to say here is that this idea has been something that the cubing community has been specifically lacking for all of its existence. Yes, we have Moyu and Chi working on mechanism designs and stuff like that, but we don't have enough research and development. In my school that I go to, I learned a lot about biology and biology companies and stuff like that. And what you'll find is that research and development is over 50% of the budget of a company. You have to invest in research and development if you want anything to improve and if you want to make money. So that's something that I feel like the cubing community has not had. And so Cubicle Lab Cubes, that's why it's great. You're putting time and energy into researching new and better ways to make mechanisms. That's something that's going to vastly improve speed cubing. And yes, it will give you $50 cubes because of neodymium magnets and because of the physical labor required to make these puzzles. However, that's a sacrifice that you need to make in order to improve the cubing community. Will everybody go and buy this cube, and will these cubes like drastically improve your times? No, but it will improve the community over time, and it will improve cube mechanisms over time. And so that's why these things are important. Anyway, when I saw this, I knew this was going to be great. Chris Tran is a genius. He's awesome at this stuff. And I know he'll do a great job producing some great different new mechanisms that ultimately will go on to be something important in all 3x3s or whatever other mechanisms in the future, and it will change cubing. That's why I wanted to make this podcast. I'm really looking forward to the future of this, and I wanted to express my opinion on it. Anyway, before I leave you, I wanted to give you 2 of my own personal ideas I had for sort of research and development things relating to cubing. These 2 things are things that I've wanted to be made by different cubing companies, but they haven't existed yet, and I feel like it would help to improve the products out there. First is stickless shades. Now, as the furthest we've gone with different shades of stickless cubes are Moyu making stickerless bright versus stickerless standard or something like that. And I think we can do much better than that. Imagine if you can order sets of custom colored stickerless pieces so that you can take apart your cubes and put in whatever colors you want. Imagine taking out a 3x3 corner, a 3-piece corner, and you hate the blue on the standard stickerless puzzles, for example. So you get to order your own light blue version of these stickerless pieces, and you pull out the old blue and pop in the new blue, and then boom, you have your own custom color scheme on stickerless puzzles. The closest we've come to this really is the new X-Men Galaxy Megaminx. This is something I was really excited for when I first saw it. It doesn't specifically apply to me because I'm not a Megaminx person, and also the shades on the stickerless Megaminx don't work for me. I can't tell them apart. But basically, this Megaminx is all the different versions: the concave, the indented version, whatever that's called. You know, all the sculpted, that's what it's called. All of those different versions in one, because you take the pieces and pop them into like sort of a base Megaminx. I think that's a great idea. And X-Men is headed in the right direction with that sort of thing, and X-Men's part of Chi. So I hopefully Chi, we see more of that from Chi in the future. Also, I wanted to mention GANs real quick, because GANs is getting really good with customization as well. The new GES system, genius. They're doing a great job with that. I think it needs fine-tuning. The tensions that they have in those springs aren't the greatest, really. The best spring setting that I've heard is just sticking with the clear ones that the cube comes with. So that's not really great for the whole GES system. So I think they can improve that definitely. But yeah, that's definitely a great idea from GANs, and they should continue to work on that. Okay, so the second idea I had was a cubing specific timer. Now, you may be saying, well, that does exist. We have speed stacking timers, but doesn't the new Gen 4 isn't that officially from the WCA and WSSA or something like that? And yeah, that's true, but that's not really what I'm talking about. As of right now, competition organizers have to generate scrambles on a computer through T-Noodle or something like that. Or if you're at home, you have to look up scrambles on your phone or on your computer or something like that, as well as to calculate averages and stuff like that. But imagine a timer where you have all of that built in. Essentially, it stores all of your information, all of your times. It calculates averages for you. It shows scrambles for you. So all you need, really, for when you're traveling and you want a speed cube is that one timer. I've thought about trying to make that before, but I lack the know-how to do it. You need somebody who's good at programming to program these things, and you also need somebody who's good at building to build the timer itself. But I'm really looking forward to this sort of thing in the future. I think it's inevitable. I think one company is eventually going to do it, whether it's SpeedStacks or Yushin if they come out with a better timer or something like that. One company is going to think of this idea, and they're going to do it. Anyway, so those are my two ideas. If you have any ideas sort of like tech to improve cubing, whether it's mechanisms or separate things like timers like I had mentioned, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear them. Also, let me know what you think of my ideas. Maybe we should try to get those things made. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Cubicle Lab cubes and improvements in general in the cubing community. That's about it for this one. Also, let me know down below if you like these first look podcasts. I'll make sure to do more of them in the future if you do. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave them down below, and that would be much appreciated. Like, share this video, and follow me on social media in order to be awesome, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.